So hello and welcome you back to the before last part of Shining Wisdom. Yes, the before last part of Shining Wisdom. And now we're gonna get some speed and hurry back to the final dungeon, to which we have already entered before. But I'll need to just say hi to the final boss and leave.
Because otherwise, the best item in the game would be something you would not get until it was already over. Very typical, but not very nice.
Not very nice, and also the way they executed it. Yeah, very.
At all. Yeah.
Very unintuitive, because like there are so many JRPGs where the whole and by the way, I'm wasting time here because I completely forgot I already picked up this thing. There are many JRPGs which did this thing where like you have to go to right before the final boss and turn around and go to do side quests. But this one takes it to a whole nother dimension.
So, Nico.
Yes?
For your future reference, a single English word for before last is penultimate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the best word ever because you have to say it, you have to talk about penultimate things all the time.
Yes.
Anyway.
They do actually update the dialogue based on what you do. So, like for example, the guy mentioned, "Oh, you now have the shining sword." But I wonder if it actually is possible to do this, to do the final boss without owning the shining sword, because there really mechanically isn't anything that prevents you from that.
So it's possible as long as you're good at the game.
I mean, as long as there isn't anything preventing you from doing that, which, considering how this whole game has been so far, it should be possible. I mean, it's not one of those where, like, this is one of those games where if you glitch past a thing, you can still do it. Like,
it's not like the triggers for allowing you to do things are dependent on you solving them the way that they were intended to be solved.
Exactly. You don't have... They're not very heavy on flags. Now, this dungeon is made up of 4 parts, and only 2 of them contain like actual dungeon stuff, and the other 2 are like tiny corridors, more or less. There are gonna be 4 bosses before we reach the final boss, and in this part we're gonna be taking care of 2 of them. The way you actually get to the bosses is you first need to obtain their keys, which are scattered about the 2 dungeon parts. And there is also at least a boss in a singular boss in a dungeon part, and
he's cleaning himself, cute little dragon.
Mm-hmm, like a cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I needed to go there.
This reminds me of the Turtle Rock section where you have to make the platform and then choose which way you go on a bunch of different junctions.
He's going with me for the adventure.
The adventures of Pegasus Helm, Speedy Boy, and Mummy.
And Mummy Boy. Yep. I mean, this could be an 80s sitcom or something.
I mean, remember that thing I showed you from the 70s? Big Wild Boy and Sasquatch?
Wild Boy and Sasquatch, yes. Like I said, it could be a 70s/80s TV show.
Absolutely would work.
I mean, it wouldn't be remembered, but it would work for the times. Okay, and here, you need to find... Dragon, please. You need to make sure you get enough air, and you have to find the one spot that will not make you drown, which is exactly here.
Oh. Okay, and then you freeze.
And then you freeze the entire floor. Otherwise, yeah, this ain't gonna go anywhere. Thankfully, because the dragons are flying, most of the times they aren't going to hit you. And there is a button, of course. I do love that the mummies are also affected by the sliding.
Yeah. As we've seen, the enemies in this game are just as affected by things as you are. The only above everything is the princess. But
Well, I mean, they are as affected by things as I am, so long as it's not gravity. And this
That's
was one of the keys that you need for one of the bosses. And right now we're going to get the second one, for which we also need the the stone shoes.
I would expect.
I wanted to see if I was able to actually jump over there, but nah.
Well, you jumped pretty early, and also
Yeah,
I think you could.
I probably could have made it actually.
Yeah. But I'm expecting this game to have a boss rush mode.
No, actually, all of the bosses you're gonna fight in this dungeon are completely unique.
It just feels like what's coming up.
Mm.
I'm not saying it is.
I mean,
saying
I guess you,
What?
and there are those things from some sci-fi RPG probably.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, and the
Continue.
other room over there was just for in case you fall down.
Ah.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of rooms like that. It can sometimes get a little bit confusing, but I'm very glad they are where they are, you know? Because they're very frequent, you very rarely actually have to, backtrack if something bad happens.
What is that?
Whatever it is, it's very annoying and it runs very fast.
Is it like the chocobo skeleton?
It's mechanical, it seems that way. Like I said, it looks like something that would be in. Actually, it looks like something that would be in Panzer Dragoon. Like a bioengineered bug-like monster.
And there's Groucho Marx.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You can tell because of the eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Would you please, Dragon? He also wants to go along with me.
And he's purple. I think that's Spyro.
He wants to go with me on an adventure. I'm going to have a full JRPG party in a moment.
There you go. Yeah, this doesn't seem to... that is, definitely something that could improve the experience if the enemies were a little bit more thoughtfully placed instead of, we have a map here. It 100% feels like, we have a map here. Let's just throw some enemies around to make it less empty.
Yes, and some of the placement is intentional, as in intentionally asshole-ish.
Yeah, but most of it just feels random.
Yeah, a lot of it does. Now, this is what the Shining Sword actually does. When you have any of the elemental orbs equipped, it gives you an attack. The lightning one is by far the best one.
Why?
Because
what's going on here? Why is there a swirling, image in front of the screen?
Because this is a Saturn and they had a lot of rotational effects and they had to show them off.
Well, this isn't mode 7 at all.
Well, it actually kind of is.
I know.
Except cranked to the max.
That was a joke. But my question really is, what is that? Is that some
I'm
kind of
not sure.
It looks like you got a thumbnail or something maybe off to the side, but...
Oh, it looks like...
Oh, it's a claw.
It's a hand.
It's hand with claws, yeah.
It's actually what the giant's hand looks like. If you remember from the time we've gone to say hi to the final boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty neat. At first, I thought it was like some, when you look at it now, it sort of looks like an armadillo.
Oh.
Or
When
like
I
a
first saw
lizard.
it, I thought it was supposed to be that we were battling far up in the clouds, and that down below us was the world.
No, no, we're like underneath the castle.
Yeah.
Although we do still have clouds underneath us.
Very true. Maybe this is like I don't even remember the name of that series, but never mind. Also, so who's
By the way,
Why are
this
we fighting
this
them?
fight also has random gusts of wind, so this is why I sometimes keep running in a direction without actually going anywhere.
Who is
and
this, and why are we fighting him though?
He's the air Djinn.
Oh,
He's one of the Djinns that were released by the evil guys.
and so we have to murder him.
Exactly, because they're used for the resurrection of the evil god.
These poor
The
Djinns.
giant saga.
And- yeah, and like I feel like maybe this is all just spin and marketing. Is that god really evil? Aren't we the bad guy for murdering all these people who, as far as I can tell, aren't actually affecting anything or anyone?
I mean, they did cause earthquakes, and they did replace the princess. I guess that was kind of important. Maybe.
Replacing the princess. Well, I mean, but they also turned her into a goose, so that's a favor.
I mean, honestly, she was so much more powerful as a goose, so much more memorable.
I mean, most people would pay dearly for the right to be transformed into a goose.
I mean, they are the most powerful beings.
I mean, have you ever tried to feed bread to some ducks and then some geese find out about it?
Yeah, you really don't want to mess with the goose mafia.
They will come for you.
They will come for you. They will also hiss at you, and they will
And
also try to
attack
bite
you.
you.
Yeah, and they have teeth. I don't know if you knew that.
They have teeth on the inside of their beaks. It's horrifying.
If you ever find yourself fighting with a goose, break its neck.
If you ever find yourself fighting with a goose, run.
It will not end well.
No, it just won't. The next dungeon part of this dungeon is the top left corner. This is my least favorite one, because the previous one it took a little bit of wandering around and figuring out your surroundings. This one is plain tedious. However, I am making it a lot less tedious than it was for me the first time I played it. So here we can see already a little bit of what we have to do. Get rid of the wall masters. I mean, not wall, the original, the character.
Yeah, I don't know why you keep thinking that. You keep talking about Zelda. I think you're just obsessed with Zelda. I don't think.
He just keeps tickling me. It's hilarious.
I mean, he is a much more literal wall master, though.
Mm-hmm. There. No, not tickles. Not the bad touch.
Yeah, this guy doesn't really respect you.
No, thankfully I have more healing herbs than he does respect for me. Just throw it a little bit further. Yes, good. You do also want to absolutely clear out all of these bombs, because they do block your path, which is actually a little bit obvious since you have the thing that will make up your escape. Well, it will make up a. This guy is still trying to catch me. Does he want to be the fourth party member?
I'm pretty sure that would make a pretty good webcomic. The Adventures of Mars, Dragon, Mummy, and Cyber
That thing.
Chocobo. Cyber Chocobo.
I mean, it looks a little bit like a mech warrior.
Oh my gosh, you're right, it's a Marauder. We'll learn all about that in about, I don't know, sometime.
Mm-hmm. And this is the more important of the two things that we can get here. And thankfully I can get the other one without having to go through the entire thing all over again. There's a whole bunch of enemies here which are going to die immediately. Now there is a different way of dealing with the fire, but I'm not gonna deal with it the normal way. Remember how you can use the blast orb in order to flatten things?
It also blows out fire.
It also puts out fires, and it's really slow and really boring. And you can and also if you happen to use the stomp on top of a crack, it ends bad because you fall down. And when you fall down, you have to do it all over again because the fire comes back.
Well, that is true though. That explosion
And here,
fires.
here, this is very important. I can only do this because I have the Gale Orb and the Bounce Boots. Otherwise, I would have to find a switch, turn the sand into stone,
Yeah.
and come back here. And to find the switch for the sand, took me like on my first run. It took me like an hour to find where it is. It's on one of the bottom floors, and I really don't feel like doing it. I really didn't feel like showing it, even for the sake of having the playthrough be relevant for everybody's use. Yeah, just get the Gale Orb. It's easier this way. Because, like, you may say, oh, I get damaged a lot when I do this. It's not a great strategy. You're gonna waste so much more time doing it the traditional way, and you will get damaged regardless.
Nico, you're not taking into account that I am the world's greatest Shining Wisdom player, so I don't get damaged ever.
Definitely, yes.
So now we're fighting the Fire Djinn?
Yes. Thankfully, elemental properties don't really seem to apply.
So you don't have to use ice against him or something?
No, thankfully not.
Oh my gosh, he like the other one sort of did, but he definitely looks like a Super Sentai character.
Yes. You don't want to get close to him because even those little embers that appear after he jumps, those will hurt you, and they will hurt you a lot. Like if you didn't do the thing that I did for like having an abundance of money, I would highly recommend that you come into this dungeon with no less than 30 herbs.
Once again, you're not taking into account the fact that I am the greatest Shining Wisdom player of all time. I've played so much of it that I've just become the best. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I just don't even consider it possible.
Oh, I thought that they were going to do a thing with these different body parts where, like, one of them had the one hand and the other one had the other hand, but no, it's just the same hand again.
No, you actually only ever see the hand.
I guess that's supposed to be his hand, like, coming out of the portal, or...
Yeah, something like that. Because these genes are supposed to be, like, used for his resurrection. So it would actually make sense that his image would be displayed somewhere around them. See, I was caught by one of the little embers.
One of those little things. Not just a lava spurt, but the little when they.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the little
it's quite a devastating attack because they're quite unpredictable. Also, he has so many projectiles and so many attacks that can hurt from far away. Yeah, using thunder is pretty much a must.
But can't you still hit him with your sword when he runs close to you anyway, and you're going to take a shot anyway?
You can. I mean, you can
just
still
sit
hurt
there
him,
and take it.
But it's very like. It is possible. It is possible. However, they do a lot more damage than say one of those bosses against Kelly. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to hit them so many times. I mean, I can imagine that maybe using the magic hand could prove a good strategy.
Using the 1,000 punch fist or whatever. Yeah.
Yes, the 100 crack fist of
There you
Mars.